Well, you know, when I was at school, you know, I would draw things in the margins of a math book, and it would be, you know, because I'm a child of empire, it would be Spitfires and shooting out red biro. But when you're older, you suddenly realise that red biro is a bullet that can explode a human body, and you know, so they carry the sort of wonderful innocence of youth, but also that innocence can mask reality sometimes. So yeah, so they're kind of about nostalgia and innocence, but they're also about consequence of human action. The exhibition's called The Paper It's Written On, so I was really wanting to emphasise the paper as well as the words. I mean, a lot of the themes are things I've touched on throughout my career in a way, but never in the paper way. So it's been really interesting because, you know, so often you'll go to exhibitions and they'll list medium and it's works on paper. So, you know, I really wanted to make this works of paper. You know, it's only a subtle difference, but, you know, rather than sort of layering of pigment on a surface, I wanted the material to be very much what you're looking at. So it's the edge of the paper that quite often defines how you read it. I suppose you could say they're 2D works, but in a way I don't see them as that. I see them as sculptural pieces, and the build-up of the layer, and even though it's a very thin layer, it's only a paper thick layer, it's the manual build-up of that layer that gives the work the sculptural quality. So and it means that you can take away the pigment and it's just the sculpture that stays. Well, this new body of work started with, well, really it's a continuation of a series called Fade, and the starting point for those was my father's experience. He was well, I suppose you'd say he was a war hero. He won DSO, I think twice, which is just one down from the Victoria Cross. But my relationship with my dad is well, it's kind of, he's an absent presence really. When I was 6, my mum and dad divorced and we came to Australia, and suddenly I'm a new person with this new world view. But I wanted to sort of make some work that was about this idea of a generation that went through these things that we can only imagine, well we can't imagine, but and the only way we know those stories is sort of through their version of things. So this idea of the fade and the idea of this white on white, it's there and connected, but it's sort of a shadowy presence in a way. I mean, I sort of deliberately chose the white on white because some of the themes I'm dealing with are quite, well, they're strong themes. They're about death and destruction and suffering in a lot of ways. But I wanted a sort of a quieter touch, you know, so, and sometimes, you know, the right and wrongs of these things are all a matter of perspective, a matter of how the light falls, you know, so sometimes those things are clearer than other times. So, you know, all of the pieces and all of the written work, I mean, they sort of take the form of a propaganda poster, but I don't want them to be too didactic. They're very emotional things rather than stating the facts or the hard numbers about a certain issue. So the words are really important to me. You know, the calligraphy of it is something that I really enjoy. So it's partly about that aesthetic quality that words have, but then it sort of goes deeper into that. And for me, it's quite important to conjure up my own set of words, my own little collections of those symbolic representations, and to create meaning as well as an aesthetic look to it. The emotion of an artwork is really important to me. I mean, there's so many ways of approaching art, and it's so open. That's what makes it so magnificent. But to me, to make something, I've got to feel emotionally connected. It's not trying to tell people what is right or wrong. It's just saying what you feel, and the way you do that is through the emotions, and that's why art is so special. You know, it's sort of incumbent to me to write a set of words that carries that emotional heft, I think. I think artists should take what's around them, current events, and sort of and use that as fuel for their work. And the idea of art itself as being a reflection of its times. And I've got a series of works that use images from Albert Dürer. I sort of set up this robot figure talking to these Dürer images, and I mean, he was, you know, his sort of emotional response to the world, I wanted to sort of contrast to this robot character's sort of view of the world. So there's all those sort of conversations that artwork can make across, you know, across lifetimes, which is amazing, you know. And it is about the it's about the multiple ways that the world can be viewed. I mean, Dürer is obviously, you know, I'm sort of using Dürer as this sort of artistic view of the world, you know, sort of poetic view of the world. But the robot's speaking in these very sort of clinical terms. It's everything is in plan view, you know, it's sort of it's technocrat speak in a way. So it's kind of, do we, you know, and they're both perfectly valid ways of viewing the world, but it's probably when that conversation gets to a point of mutual understanding that it's the most valuable, I think.